This week's US CQM Forecast Alert is: how does the PCA forecast GDP price deflator? This week, we only updated the effective exchange rate of the US dollar. In the CQM, this affects the income side only, such as income received from ROW and income payments to ROW. In the PCA, this affects the GDP price deflator forecast. We can see that the US economy has been slowing down in May. If we focus only on the expenditure side, we may be concerned about a recession. But if we look at the economy from the income side, there are no recession concerns. Their aggregated indexes also show that the economy has been slowing in May. However, the high growth rate of real domestic final sales at 3.35% does not raise any concerns about a recession. PCA uses the 9-monthly economic indicators to estimate and forecast the GDP price deflator. In the PCA, we must be careful about the unit of variables. There are significant correlations among the x's, and these cannot be used directly to estimate the GDP price deflator. While OLS minimizes the sum of squared errors from each point, PCA finds principal components that maximize the sum of variance between x's. This is the same as finding principal components that minimize the sum of information loss. By changing the 9 explanatory variables into principal components, the problem of multicollinearity was resolved. The principal components that are highly correlated with the dependent variable y are selected and used for estimation. When variables are significantly revised historically, explanatory variables may no longer be statistically significant. Sometimes. This week's PCA forecast economic growth rate to be 2.26% and inflation to be 2.13%. Regarding inflation, the downward trend until May 9th appears to have bottomed out and is now reversing. However, the inflation rate itself is not high enough to be of concern. The GDP price deflator growth rate of 2.35% is almost the same as the PCA forecast of 2.13%. So there are almost no inflation concerns. Conclusions from this week's US CQM Forecast Alert. The first, the US economy has been slowing gradually since the beginning of May. The second, however, economic growth rate on the income side, real aggregated indexes, and the PCA forecast suggest that the likelihood of a recession is low. The third, inflation remains stable at below 2.5%. The fourth, PCA prediction has the advantage that it can be used to estimate many economic statistics by eliminating multicollinearity. The fifth, PCA can be used for economic forecasting in developing countries where economic statistics are not well developed. This slide contains additional information about this week's detailed CQM forecast.